What's poppin', world? Back at it again with another video for y'all. Y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Y'all read the title. Let's get right into it. Now, as y'all can see, I'm on my way back home from getting off work, but that's not what y'all came here for. So, let's address it. The tariffs. A lot of different narratives circulating and a lot of different cause and effects. And all of this stuff, I can't lie, it's just based off of information that I've acquired through various of sources and information and research and stuff like that. So some of it is going to be subjective, you know, just based off of certain narratives, certain indicators, and others might be based off of historical, you know, facts and stuff like that, right? Because, you know, as they say, history tends to repeat itself, right? So, stock market crashing. Let's just get straight right into it. The stock market is crashing. People selling off. You got the people that's in charge of these trusts and index funds and stuff like that selling off because they're getting those margin calls like, hey, banks like, hey, I need my money back. I need a return on my investment. So they gotta sell. A lot of panic because there's a lot of mixed messages coming out the White House, you know, regarding, is there a deal? Is there not a deal? There's a tariff here, then there's a response tariff, then there's a tariff to that tariff. That was a response to the other tariff. So you got all this pandemonium and chaos and stuff going on, right? So this is my assessment of this situation. This is my diagnosis. Now, I don't have no insider point of view. I haven't talked to nobody. This is just the way it looks like to me, from my perspective. I feel like the president is trying to play a game of chicken. And what I mean by chicken is, I mean, if y'all played the game of chicken, it's like who gonna chicken out or a staring contest, who gonna blink first, right? Who's gonna tap out, right? What countries is gonna tap out and go into the negotiating table knowing that, and this is just a perception, that the president is just feeling like, we got the number one leverage in the world, so if we're gonna play who's gonna blink faster than who, we're gonna be the ones that have the most resilience based off of our resources. That's just the perception, right? So that's why he says, hey, you know, I'm not really looking at the markets. You got to just take some medicine. You know, it's going to be the golden age. It's going to drive jobs back to the country, so on and so forth, right? So you got that going on. Now, the business people, this is something I heard today, right? That they're looking at it like, why would I take 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years relocating my manufacturing, you know, and all of my logistics for an administration that may only just have 4 years. Now, if the vice president comes along and then just copy and paste, that's a whole nother conversation. But let's just talk about what we're dealing with right now. 4 years. Why would I sit up there, spend all these millions, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars relocating my logistics to support a policy that may not even be there after the next 3 years and a half, right? Now, I don't want to get political. People voted for who they voted for, and they only went with the information that was necessary. So I'm not gonna demonize and, oh, this is what you voted for, and oh, this is what you get, and all that. Hey, people voted for what their values was supposed to be. Now, yes, in 2020 hindsight, when people talk about Bidenomics, does that look a lot more appealing right now? Sure, but that may not be the case a year or two from now. Who knows? But let's talk about the now, right? So dealing with the now, if you haven't ever had an investment or had stocks or anything, this is one of the most lucrative times to get in right now. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for educational purposes only. But only reason why I'm saying that, based off a historical aspect, every time the market crashes, it comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance, and it's a new crescendo, right? So here's a conspiracy theory that I heard. I heard the president is just supposed to crash the market on purpose. Therefore, it's going to trigger the Fed to start lowering rates. Then that gives a lot of that debt to be able to be refinanced. It might devalue the dollar, but it might put debt in control. So it's all this economics and stuff going on. But the bigger picture is that the rates or the stocks could be so low that all these mutual funds and stuff like that, they're gonna just have a more monopoly on just services and goods and companies and corporations. Because capitalism, short term or short way of looking at capitalism, is big bank gonna take little bank. Every decade, the margin of the middle class in that window to get from the lower class through middle class to upper and higher class and getting into the 1%, each generation that window gets smaller and smaller. And that's just the nature of capitalism. It's not built for everybody to make it. Because if it's average or regular, it's accessible to everyone, then it's not worth much. That is the ugly truth about success. Success in this situation only operates well if there's a failing class beneath the successful class. Because if everybody was responsible and everybody was sitting up there saving and doing what they were supposed to do, if we were a society that did that, you gotta look at these words that we use. Capitalism. If you go to the root word, capitalize or capital. Let's stick with capitalize. It's the working class that's being capitalized on that drives capitalism, right? So you have the working class fueling the country, but also being reminded that, hey, the 1% is going to outweigh the 99. Because the 1% pretty much runs the country. If you look at this is an unpopular opinion, but if you look at the 2020 crash, right? What was the first thing that got saved first? The stock market. Then when it came down to the everyday person, small business owners and regular working people, man, it was sitting up there fighting for months on how much $600 or $1,200 is going to be for them stimulus checks. But they're going to use the taxpayer money to... They're just pretty much just giving the wealthy wealth. So that was symbolic because it just goes to show you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me this is a democracy. You can't tell me this is a republic where the people rule nah, man. No, it's not a dictatorship, but we do have a bunch of oligarchs, you feel me, that run as one dictator. It's just so many different faces and so many different versions. You don't even know who to point the finger at because it's too many to look at. But besides all that, right, the main point about these tariffs and stuff like that, right, is that everyday cost of cars, service, goods, everything probably gonna skyrocket up. For how long? I don't know. Might be temporary, might be... There's lots of ways we can go about this, right? People panicking, rightfully so. But for people that's lower income or just don't feel it at all because you don't have nothing invested, this is your opportunity. This is your window to seize your moment, because there will be another recession after this one recovers, but no telling if it may be the next 10 years from now. Because honestly, recessions happen once every decade. If you look at a historical, so there's going to be something, there's going to be another cause, and there's going to be another situation. But I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all, man. This is just my theory of how I think it's going to play out. Step by step. Stocks market crash, right? Housing gets more affordable by default. Interest rates is going to be in a recession if we're not already in one right now. So you got a recession on top of a stock market crash, on top of paying higher taxes. People that do e-commerce, they getting hit up because their business is based off of imports from material or whatever it is from foreign countries. So if you're taxing the foreign countries, it's going to cost more for it to be pretty much imported into the country. Therefore, you're going to either have to up the price, the offset, to keep your profit margins the same, or you're going to have to be making less money because you're going to have to eat. A lot of that profit margin is going to be ate up. You're going to have to eat the cost just to be able to sell whatever product you're selling at the same price you were selling it for. The same thing that you were just selling a month or 2 months ago, e-commerce is going to be affected. Logistics, that might be affected, right? Supply chain, because if we're not trading with each other, right, then a lot of businesses, even from different countries, they suffer. They suffer because their product is not getting moved. Nobody's buying anything. So it's forcing like a global recession where people gonna have to hold on to their dollars tight. Because as things go up in price and people spend less, then there's gonna be a lot more uncertainty and a lot more weakness in our society. So this is just my point of view on it. I'm gonna leave it right there. I want to know what y'all think. If anything I said was out of bounds, inbounds, I want to know what y'all think. That being said, thanks for watching the video. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm out of here.